Hello there guys and welcome back to another episode of Cities Skylines Offline Mode with me, Siege. So today we are zoning up the Agriculture and Forestry District as well as construct the transport lines which I have teased in the past episode, which you can access right at the top of your screen. Anyway, unlike what I said last time, we are first going to look at the Agri zone in the city before the transport lines, and this is some case of my memory failing me. I really thought that I put up the bus lines first, so I pronounced it last episode that it would be the focus of this episode until I browsed up my records and realized that it was far from that. So it's definitely embarrassing and it's also probably a sign that I need some memory supplements, but we're still going to deliver on the promise and continue on with that, though for now let's focus on this district. So I zoned up the area to be a mix of both industrial and residential areas. I've been thinking that I would design one similar to what I usually see on the field, where there are local domestic agriculture occurring and the homes of those who operate these establishments are not far away from those sites, so it means easy access for workers. So this district is the first of the industrial sites that would be put around the two plots of land that I bought in order to create a connection to the rail line. I noticed that the plots of land both contain fertile land, forests, and oil reserves, so as we develop the city and proceed with this series, expect to also see more episodes related to that. And speaking of related episodes, we'll also have another where we put in some details on the farmlands we are zoning right now. I would just fill this up first according to the demand and then proceed in doing so. Although I don't think it would be the most detailed one compared to others since we bar ourselves from doing so cause, offline mode, but I'm going to give an effort for it. Anyway, so let's talk about the clips that you are seeing right now. I decided that the industrial areas near the residences would be a bit more packed since I imagine it to be much more of a domestically used area, while those along the dirt roads would be spaced out, and we'll see those details that we are going to implement sometime. However, I do think that I also zoned too close in some areas, as you would see later on, but during this process I was just thinking of following first the industrial demand present, which as you see at the bottom is the highest among the three during this build. Although in retrospect I should have simply let the demand be there, but the solution has already been served. It only took few bits of zones and buildings being removed, and we're prepared to put in some details at those large plots of land. Still, the need to balance the beautification of the area as well as the fact that I have to create a lot of industries to allow a bigger population later on has really been a bit of a thought-provoking thing for me. This is something that I don't really mind back then when I was playing with mods and assets, since I play with unlimited money, so I can plop and detail all I want, and I just have a bigger space too with 81 tiles. But as you know, we've been adjusting ever since, and it's just going to continue on. And one case of me maximizing the space available is expanding both the residences and the agricultural area further to the right, where there are some spaces of fertile land available for more agriculture. Anyway, we are going to proceed with the first, and around this time, the only detail for the district that I placed for the meantime, which is the water tower by the center of the district. I've always wondered before why water towers or water tanks could be found in agriculture districts, hence I decided to represent this interest in this build. And as far as I know, they are used after all for irrigation, which is valuable especially when the water supply cannot meet the demand well. Then, I proceeded into reconfiguring the intersection by the entrance to the district to allow better flow of traffic by converting it into a small roundabout. Although, to be honest, later on I just changed the road layout out here and placed some one-way roads. Next, I also expanded it to create a new path towards the patch of forest above the agriculture district, which became the location of the city's new forestry district. Although I decided to zone only a little bit of it for the meantime, as you would see in a few seconds before expanding it in the later episodes. So I really hope that you'd stick with the series and continue watching my future videos. Every like, every view makes me feel really appreciated. So big thanks to all of you out there. Anyhow, back to the the clip, I also designed the area to be similar to the previous district where the zones are mixed with residences and of course industrial zones sprinkled with some shops. And it has felt much more realistic for me to mix up the layout within these districts rather than before where I just color every bit of it yellow. And so finally, the promise is now here. We are now going to see the transit lines that is being placed around the city. The first among these are the tram lines 1, purple, and 2, blue, which follows the same radial route, albeit in a different orientation of travel within the first housing district and along the Universidad Avenue. Each has 10 stops and receives an average ridership per week of around 200 to 400 passengers each, totaling to a peak of 800, making it one of the most notable lines within the city and connecting the majority of the citizens to their workplaces and homes. And as you can see right now, the tram line 2 simply follows the stops from which the first tram line have been constructed into. The next portion of our route creation are for the bus lines, with the first line being the Agriculture District route. However, I wouldn't provide the exact statistics of this line since it would undergo massive changes in the upcoming episode due to updates in routes as well as connections to the Agriculture and Forestry Districts. So, let's now focus in the currently existing lines, the first being the First Housing District radial route or the yellow line, which connects the city's riverside area to the First Housing District and businesses in the University District Avenue. It is currently the longest route available in the city with 3.9 kilometers and averages 125 to 175 passengers every week. This route in turn effectively connects the easternmost and westernmost residential portions of the city, allowing better mobility for all of its citizens. Next, we have the FHD Industrial Red Line, which effectively replaces the temporary line that I constructed back then, a route that I did not feature because it is supposed to be temporary, so there's that. But anyway, it has a line length of 2.8 kilometers and transports up to about 200 passengers per week, mostly workers who are employed by the factories that are located in the city's industrial area. The difference though from the previous line is that it has only 2 pickup points from the district and one of which is located at the central bus hub. Subsequently, the FHD Universidad line, which is one of the pillar lines of the bus transport in the city, was constructed after the industrial route. The orange line, which features 9 stops spread over 3.7 kilometers, remains in putting up the highest number of passengers, never dropping below 200. It also has the most buses at 16 and serves the line's namesake districts, connecting both low, medium, and high-level residences to the bustling offices and businesses of the Universidad district. And before we construct the last line, let's take note that the hub is the most important part of the line, serving as their connection. So if any one of the citizens want to go to the agriculture area from the riverside area, they may take the radial line bus and transfer from it to the green agro district line through the hub in order to reach their destination. The same could be said for someone living within the outer confines of the first housing district, who have the option to take the tram and transfer into the industrial route within the hub. Simply put, there are countless options available within the bus hub. And so with that out of the way, to allow residents of the housing district to easily transport across the zone, we also have the FHD Ikot line, which has a surprising length of up to 3.2 kilometers. It transports about 125 to 175 citizens weekly and is served by 10 buses. This allows a resident to freely jump from the district's main plaza to the city cemetery or to a school complex and back to the transport hub without missing the side of the bus, making for an easy journey across important sites of the district. And that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribe for more upcoming content.